Alright, so YouTube, it's your old friend Dominic Tringali here again. So this was Star Wars Build a Millennium Falcon issue 4. They chose this interesting purple color this time. But yeah, it's another photo of the Millennium Falcon. As time goes on, I'm more and more inclined to believe that it's just going to be every single issue with just a picture of the model. That's kind of disappointing. Anyway, so we continue on from the last issue with this stuff about the X-Wing, icon of the rebellion, talking about some of the astromech assistants, how they're able to pilot it with one actual pilot, and then a lot of the basic piloting goes through the astromech droid. Talks about, so this time, some of the armament and targeting systems, the shields. So very robust fighter, the X-Wing. That's interesting. From what I know about the TIE fighters, the X-Wing was always the superior vehicle for ship-to-ship combat. Talking about R2-D2, who, as we all know, plays a big role as an astromech droid. I think that's his primary function. And so talking about Rogue Squadron, the Battle of Endor, talking about how they filmed the X-Wing on the Dagobah set. Very interesting stuff. Talking about the X-Wing configuration, the locked foils and open foils pattern. And then actually talking about the modeling of the X-Wing and how they built these models. We have this nice photo from the 70s, or I guess that would be early 80s, maybe, of how they designed and built the model for the X-Wing. Very cool, very cool. I like that they mix in part of the universe with some practical effects stuff, how they did the practical effects. So then, the Moon of Endor, this is the, as we continue on, we're now entering into Return of the Jedi, and talking about the Moon of Endor. So it takes 18 standard hours to orbit, make one rotation, and they have 402 local days in a year. I don't really know how a moon can have a year. I guess I guess if it returns back to its starting position, that's a year. That's interesting. All right. So you also find out some information about the sector and Endor specifics. Some stuff about Bright Tree Village, where the Ewoks live. The number of sentient and native species on the planet itself. On a side note, I'm wondering if anyone could comment down below about the Ewok cartoon show. I remember the droid cartoon show. I watched a few episodes. I'm wondering if the Ewok one is any good or worth a watch. So that's definitely interesting. And also, is the planet Bakura, is that the planet that Endor actually revolves around? Very, very interesting. I don't know. So I believe a lot of this was filmed in Oregon, where I'm from. So that's really cool that the moons of Endor happen to be so close to home. I'm going to double check that though, because I've heard that as a rumor for years, but I don't know if that's actually true. Might be just Northern California, which is close to Oregon. So scenes from the final conflict. This was actually a model. All of this. This was a set, the shield generator. So, oh, it says here, the real world location of Endor is close to Lucasfilm's home in Northern California. Okay, so it wasn't Oregon, it was actually Northern California. That makes a lot more sense, because I don't know exactly where the hell this was shot at. Alright, so I also heard something interesting, that if the Death Star had exploded that close, it would have actually rained fire on the planet of Endor and like killed all the Ewoks. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's a pretty funny story. I mean, some physicists had actually talked about that. All right, so then we talk about secrets of spaceflight here. We have hull frames and plating. So it talks about how actually the Millennium Falcon utilizes part of its non-stock nature, a number of hull plates that are Durasteel. and are actually, the ship is really resistant to laser blasts because of the structure. You can see here they break it down all the way from the interior framing, the reinforced plating to the top layers. Apparently it was all salvaged off a Imperial ship and refitted for the Falcon. That's why the Millennium Falcon has kind of a patchwork look to it, because it's been reinforced with all this armor plating. Very interesting stuff, actually. Alright, so there's that. That's pretty cool. Actual shots of the construction process of when they put the Millennium Falcon model together originally. So then always, like always, we have the instructions. This one's going to be kind of boring. We don't have very much going on. It's just going to be putting the frame work together some more, and so that shouldn't take very long at all. So I'll start that and let you see what I got so far. So this is the parts pack for this particular issue. Looks like I have 2 frame pieces, these connector pins, and a number of screws. The black screws are for the framing, and these screws are actually going to secure the hull plating to the actual frame, so I'll be able to actually attach a piece of hull this time. So we'll see what that looks like. So, I went ahead and attached the 2 screws here and 1 screw here to this 4-hole connector piece that I attached in issue 2, and now this is one solid piece right here. I have this piece left to attach, which will attach like that, and so when I screw that together, I'll show you what that looks like. Great. So now, after attaching these 3 more screws, I've attached 6 screws, and this is what the frame piece is looking like. Alright, so great. I have 2 more connectors to attach, and then I'll be done with this step in particular. Alright, cool. So all I did was attach this piece right here. I have a number of extra screws left over and another 4-hole connector, but according to the instructions, those aren't going to go on yet. So I'll just hold on to them with the rest of my other spare pieces, and I'll move on to the next step, which is actually attaching the hull plating. So this is what the hull plating looks like when it's got all the holes attached. It's more locked in place and firmer, but on the back I haven't actually fixed screws into any of these points, so I have 8 screws to put in to actually secure this into place. So I'll do that now, and then I should be done with this issue. So this is what it looks like when it's all screwed into place. You can see what that looks like, all screwed in place. I have 1 extra screw for the hull plating. I'm going to save that because I don't know if that was intentional or accidental that I have too many screws. So like always, I'll just save that. So when this should end up attaching like that and looking something like that. Starting to look, I don't want to drop those, alright? So it should look something like that until it's screwed into place. I really should be more careful. I'll probably start maybe painting this and embellishing it a little bit, because this looks, I mean, it's a little worn, but I think it would look a lot better if I put in some multicolored plating, which would match more with the actual Millennium Falcon. So that looks really good. I like that. Alright, so the last part of this magazine is talking about the actual shooting of the Falcon. A nice article about how it was constructed from metal and woodwork, and how they filmed it on set, engineering details like I talked about before. Well, anyway, so with issue 5, I'm actually going to have the collar for my cockpit. I'll be able to finish off the cockpit with some minor details, and I'll actually put a lighting mix switch in there so that I'll eventually be able to light up my cockpit. So, like always, I would like you to comment below if you enjoyed the video, or if you have any questions going on. Then also go ahead and like the video and subscribe, because I'm really enjoying this, and I'd really like to make sure that other people are enjoying it as well. Take care. Bye.